understand why. Watch this.
This is an emergency SOS call from the Netherlands. All hope is lost. Please save us. I'm calling on the international community to do something about the extreme disease that is in charge of the Netherlands. Just tonight, our parliament discussed a new law that will allow two men to donate DNA material to create a joint embryo out of two men, meaning a child born of two men. It will also allow a single person to mate with themselves to produce a self-fertilized egg and then create a child with only one biological parent. This comes after the Netherlands legalized gay marriage, after we had the first gay prime minister, after we invented the Dutch protocol, which is an unproven way of castrating a man and then giving him a fake vagina with tissue out of his ass. I'm not kidding about that. We're allowing euthanasia of children from ages 12 and up. 16 and 17-year-olds can have themselves euthanized without their parental consent. We are also allowing, under the Groningen protocol, the euthanasia of children up to 1 year old. So if you don't like your child, you can get rid of it after it's been born. Of course, we have abortion up to birth, right? We had the world's first pedophile party taking part in our elections. My God, I can't do this anymore. I wasn't born to grow up in this Sodom and Gomorrah of the world. I am of the opinion that this country needs to be vaporized. And I hereby call upon President Donald Trump, on President Putin of Russia, and the Ayatollah of Iran to point your nuclear rockets at this country, blast it to shits. Away with this. This cannot heal without first bombing it to the ground.
Okay. Wow, what the fuck, man? So that's what they're doing over there in the Netherlands. So just like they did in Canada about the COVID uno nueve, Satan's piss, that they had to make people take this Satan piss in order to keep their job or in order to keep their bank accounts open. They did the same thing to the Netherlands. Okay. Then when they passed all of these unrighteous laws and unrighteous decrees, like you just heard about, now these Edomite sodomites are getting upset. Why are you getting upset? Why didn't you bitch, whine, and complain about when they first started making these moves towards all of this debauchery? It didn't make any sense. Now you're pissed off because euthanasia, little kids from what he said from 6 years old and up can vote to kill themselves, unalive themselves with putting themselves to sleep forever, right? What do they call it? Self-euthanasia. Euthanize themselves. Okay. You've got what he had a laundry list of the different things going on over in the Netherlands, and a lot of agriculture and fertilizer comes from the Netherlands. Okay, and that's being cut off. You see, so what they're doing is they're trying to, through their digital access, that to me, from what I see, is they're causing a dependence upon the governments of the world, since this is all a global conspiracy. You want to call it conspiracy or whatever, a conspiratorial ideology on a global scale from continent to continent to continent to keep the children of Israel, Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, wherever they've been scattered through the transatlantic slave trade, the sub-Saharan slave trades, and all these different things, from becoming a nation again of one people. Right now, we're two separate nations now, like it says in the book of Ezekiel, chapter 36. Take it back. Ezekiel 35. Let's get it. Come on. Let's go get it. Ezekiel 35. Where you at? Ezekiel 35. Right? Verse 10. Because thou hast said, these two nations and these two countries shall be mine, and we will possess it, whereas the Lord was there. For you said, the lands of Israel and Judah will be ours. we will take possession of them. We do. What do we care? What that the Lord is there, right? Now, the only people that have that type of ideology, that thinking, right, are those Amalekite Khazars currently over there claiming to call themselves Jews and are not. You know, if you go up and ask one of these Amalekite Hasidic Jews or Orthodox Jews or unorthodox Jews, whatever the fuck you want to call them, because they're not the people of the Lord. They're imposters. Okay, you know, they're pretending to be an indigenous population of people. Those Edomite Caucasians are not indigenous to that land. They're not. They never were. That lie was created in 1948. It was originally designed for them by paperwork in the Balfour Declaration to allow these devils to do whatever they wanted to do. Run over the people, disrespect them, whatever. And now you got, in southern Lebanon, you got these devils kicking people's doors in, taking everything. So, you know, and putting people out or just unaliving them on the street. And it's not getting any traction in the news media. Why? Because the news media is owned by everyone in the Israeli lobby, okay, which is part of the United States government now. Okay, so in order to control propaganda, you know, which, you know, let me see if I can go into propaganda. I'll just get it. Ready? Propaganda. Right. Propaganda definition. Propaganda definition. Propaganda is the systematic, deliberate spreading of information, including facts, rumors, half-truths, or lies, to influence public opinion, advance a cause, or damage an opposing cause. It often uses emotional rather than rational appeals, emphasizing one-sided arguments, biased information, or manipulative messaging to shape perceptions. Its purpose: to persuade an audience to adopt a specific viewpoint, support a cause, or take action, often to serve the interests of the messenger. The messengers, they want to serve the interests of the elite. This is their position on MK Ultra, MK Naomi mind control, using subliminal messaging through commercials on television, which they found out that over the last 30, 40 years, it's worked beautifully. You know, people sit at home, they get a job or whatever, and they watch television, they see a commercial, a person stops to think, well, shit, let me check the kitchen. Maybe I don't have this thing. I might need to go to the store. They look, they don't have it, and they go to the store. And then they're able to manipulate the stock market of what people buy and sell. You see what I'm saying? Through the subliminal messaging through MK Ultra, MK Naomi. You see? Which is, you know, right? Mind control. Right? And government, the word government means mind control in Latin. Okay? Govern means to control, and ment means mind. Okay? Anyways. Methods. It can use media like posters, films, speeches, blah, blah, blah. Characteristics: often biased, misleading, or intentionally deceptive, focusing on emotional stereotypes and oversimplification. See? So, yeah, this... Come on. Yeah, so this... Come on, man. So this Edomite, you know, he may have had a point or two. Okay? Pissed off at the government. Nothing they can do, you know? Okay? Now, let's listen to this again. I don't know if I can go back to it now.
There should not be one billionaire in America, because there is nobody that works hard enough to earn $1 billion. 2 jobs I did in my life that were physically the most demanding and mentally the most difficult that I ever did paid me the least amount of money. One was going through buds at $62 every 2 weeks, and the second was right before I went in the Navy. I had a job with the Minnesota Highway Department. apartment, couple bucks above minimum wage. I worked for the bridge crew. I worked 40 hours in 4 days, and guess what I did? Ran the 80-pound jackhammer. I challenge any billionaire to run the jackhammer for 40 hours 1 week and tell me he works harder than that. No, he doesn't. That's why I believe there should not be a billionaire in the world. You didn't earn that money.
Okay, now where the hell that came from, I have no clue, but I'm going to try to go back.
I will never understand why. Watch this.
This is an emergency SOS call from the Netherlands. All hope is lost. Please save us. I'm calling on the international community to do something about the extreme disease that is in charge of the Netherlands. Just tonight, our parliament discussed a new law that will allow 2 men to donate DNA material to create a joint embryo out of 2 men, meaning a child born of 2 men. It will also allow a single person to mate with themselves to produce a self-fertilized egg and then create a child with only one biological parent. This comes after the Netherlands legalized gay marriage, after we had the first gay prime minister, after we invented the Dutch protocol, which is an unproven way of castrating a man and then giving him a fake vagina with tissue out of his ass. I'm not kidding about that. We're allowing euthanasia of children from ages 12 and up. 16 and 17-year-olds can have themselves euthanized without their parental consent. We are also allowing, under the Groningen protocol, the euthanasia of children up to 1 year old. So if you don't like your child, you can get rid of it after it's been born. Of course, we have abortion up to birth, right? We have the world's first pedophile party taking part in our elections. My God, I can't do this anymore.
Okay, right. This is crazy, but this is what these Edomite Caucasians do, man. They're the devil. Here, look, God dog it, come on. Okay, see, okay, come on, man. Wow, okay, won't let me go to the Bible at all, huh? You can't tell me that ain't Satan. I don't give a fuck. Wow. Gonna fight me to the doom to stop that blue letter Bible. Did you see that shit? Wow, go fight me. God damn. Wow. Okay. Let's go to the New Testament. We're going to Romans chapter 1. Man, come on, man. Okay. Romans 1. And then it won't let me. Wow. What the actual fuck? I'll just go to a different Bible app. How's that? Motherfuckers. Wow, man. Come on. Wow. Just take a deep breath. It's almost over. These devils are trying to stop you from telling the truth. Okay? Alrighty. Romans chapter 1. Verse 24. Wherefore the Most High Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai also gave them up to uncleanness through the lusts of their own hearts, to dishonor their own bodies between themselves. Right? That's exactly what they've done. And as far as the deal, I couldn't stop it. The dude from, what's his name? Jesse Ventura talking about a billionaire. I apologize about that. I don't know what's wrong with my phone. I'm trying to do what I can. But yeah, when I saw the one video concerning all of this debauchery going on in the Netherlands, they're trying to push this shit on a global scale. Everybody's complicit in it, okay, because of democracy, right? And then it goes off into all the nations of the world have drunken of the wine of the wrath of her fornication, and all the nations are mad, right? Pissed off. As you just heard, the nations are mad because of democracy. Democracy is freedom to do as thou wilt. Liberality, Anyway, who changed the truth of the Most High into a lie, right? Whitewashed history, put Cesare Borgia, a.k.a. Serapis Christus, a.k.a. Dagon, a.k.a. Baal Peor, aka Jeebus crossed, right, and put up a dead Edomite Caucasian white man by the name of Cicero Borgia, posing as the son of the Most High, right? They changed the truth of the Most High into a lie. They whitewashed history, right? And worshipped and served the creature, Satan. You have the Church of Satan now. All these world leaders are Satanists, right? More than the Creator. And the Creator created Satan. Let's go and prove that one. Let's go get Isaiah chapter 45, verse 7, right? I form the light and create darkness. I make peace and create evil. I, the Lord, do all these things. Okay? The Most High creates good and evil. Okay? False balance is an abomination. Right? Proverbs chapter 11, verse 1. A false balance is abomination to the Lord, but a just weight is his delight. Proverbs chapter 20, verse 23. Diverse weights are an abomination unto the Lord, and a false balance is not good. Now, this false balance is that they would rather worship the creature more than the Creator. Okay? That's false balance. You're pushing, these Edomite Caucasians are pushing evil and wickedness against righteousness and justice. You see? And it creates an imbalance. Right? The Most High created his only begotten Son. Okay? And through his only begotten Son, he created the sons of God. The sons of God, the Alahayim, right? The angels, messengers, living souls, ministering spirits, created everything that we see today when we walk outside. The trees, the grass, the ground, water, the air vapor, in order to, the symbiosis of the interaction of the human body and its environment. The environment, as far as we breathe out carbon dioxide and breathe in oxygen. The trees and grass breathe in carbon dioxide and breathe out oxygen. For us to breathe in oxygen and breathe out carbon dioxide, you see the circle of life? These devils are not about the circle of life. They are a instrument of death. That's all they know. Like it says in John chapter 10, verse 10, the thief cometh not before to steal, kill, and to destroy. That's all they know how to do. They steal natural resources. I mean, what the fuck, in real time on mainstream media, this is what Donald Trump and Satan nothing not a Jew is in the process of doing right now. Stealing natural resources and stealing land. Now, I heard on the Kyle Kalinske yesterday while I was at work, okay, these individuals, what they're trying to do now is they're trying to sell the land in southern Lebanon that they stole from the Lebanese people at cost to other Israeli Amalekite imposters for money. Okay, this is the wickedness of these devils, man. Okay. Now, where was I at? Yeah, Isaiah 45 and 7. I form the light. I create darkness. I make peace and create evil. I, the Lord, do all these things. Lord is in capital letters in reference to Yahweh. Alasaja Yahweh, the creator of the heavens, the earth, the sea, all that is therein, and the foundation of water. Okay? We are to give fear and reverence his name. These heathen nations won't say his name. They're scared to death. It's the reason why they push all of this wickedness. Okay? In order to push it on the mindset, not only of the other people and on the people of their own nations, but they also push it, okay, on the children of Israel. Because they know that as long as the children of Israel go off and do wrong, the Most High will be against them. Let's go get it. The book of Judith, where are you at? Judith chapter 5, verse 17. Right? Salakia. Right. Judith 5, verse 15. So they, being the Israelites, dwelt in the land of the Amorites, and they destroyed by their strength, and the strength of the Israelites is our God, Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai. Right? All of them of Esbon and passing over Jordan, they possessed all the hill country. Right? Because the Most High fought for us. Right? And like Moses told the people, the Most High will fight for you, you shall hold your peace. Right? And they cast forth before them the Canaanite, the Perizzite, the Jebusite, and the Shechemite, and all the Girgashites, and they dwelt in that country many days. Right? Because that's what the Most High told. If you go back and read the book of Joshua, okay, it gives an account of all of these different nations just mentioned here in the book of Judith that were conquered by the Israelites in the different wars that we had in order to take over these people's lands. Right? And whilst they sinned not before their power, Yahweh, they prospered. Right? Because the Most High that hateth iniquity was with them. Same thing in the book of Numbers, chapter 23. What was his name? Damn, I forgot the name of the guy. I might have to go to it just to remember the name of that guy. But anyway, I'll wait. Okay. Baalim, whatever his fucking name is. I keep forgetting his name. He was arguing with the donkey, and the donkey spoke to him. Right. Anyway, where was I at? But when they departed from the way which he appointed them, which was to fear him and keep his commandments, right? Like it says in the book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 12, verse 13, let us hear the whole conclusion of the whole matter. Fear the Most High and keep his commandments, for this is the whole duty of man. See? Verse 18, Judith 5 and 18. But when they departed from the way he appointed them, they were destroyed in many battles very sore, and were led captives into a land that was not theirs. Right? The Most High had scattered us amongst the heathen nations. Right? And the temple of their power was cast to the ground, and their cities were taken by the enemies. You can read accounts of that in first and second Maccabees. Okay? Okay, about how our cities were taken by the enemies and how the temple of the Most High God was cast to the ground. What the fuck? Where did it come from? I didn't touch anything. Wow. Did you see that shit? I didn't touch anything. It just... Anyway. Verse 19. But now are they returned to their power and are come up from the places where they were scattered. Right? Because the Most High is only working with an elect few remnant. Like it says in Isaiah chapter 10, verse 20. A remnant shall return. Right? But now are they returned to their power and are come up from the places where they were scattered. Right? And have possessed Jerusalem where their sanctuary is, and are seated in the hill country, for it was desolate. Right? Right? Because Jerusalem now is a people before it's a place. Okay? It's not a building. It's not a city. The city of Jerusalem now are its people that have been scattered amongst the heathen nations. Only the elect, okay, will be called the New Jerusalem, because those individuals are predestinated or predetermined to receive spiritual enlightenment and salvation from the Lord's hand, from the Lord's right hand, who is Yahweh Shai HaMashiach, whom the world ignorantly calls Jesus Christ, right? That they whitewashed, okay, to be an Edomite Caucasian to look like them, okay? Now, where was I at? Now, therefore, my Lord and Governor, if there be any error against this people, this is my point, and they sin against their power, let us consider that this shall be their ruin, and let us go up and we shall overcome them. Right? And that's exactly what happened. They overcame us because we were discontinued from our inheritance, which is to fear the Most High and keep His commandments, As long as we kept His commandments and we did the best we could as keeping His commandments, we had the high Levite priests that would cover us with blood sacrifice every year, 3 times a year, okay, to make sure that we would be covered by the awesome majesty of His of the Most High Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, the Creator of all things, and He would be our strength of our arm and fight for us, right? But this is what happened. Now, therefore, my Lord and Governor, if there be any error against this people, and they create errors, is my point. They create the problem. Then they bring the solution. Problem, reaction, solution, right? The Hegelian dialectic. They pressure from above, pressure from below. This is their whole mindset. If they can keep the children of Israel in error, which is not keeping His law, statutes, and commandments, and following after the false, strange gods of the heathen, wherever the nation that they've been scattered to, living as the heathen, eating the foods of the heathen will be able to continue to overcome us and be rulers over us and to devour us. Right? Right? Remember, Satan is as a roaring lion seeking about whom he may devour. Right? And the living embodiment of satanic power on earth are the Edomites. These Edomite Caucasian devils, these troglodytes that think that they're better with a God complex, that whitewashed all of history and put themselves in place of the Israelites and fabricated a lie called supersessionism and replacement theology to replace the Israelites in the Holy Bible, which of a people that cannot be replaced. Neither can they be numbered. Okay? Now, therefore, my Lord and Governor, if there be any error against this people and they sin against their God, right? Let us consider that this shall be their ruin, and let us go up, and we shall overcome them. The us that went up and overcame us are found in Psalm 83. The tabernacles of Edom, and of the Ishmaelites, and of Moab, and of Ammon, and of the Philistines, and of the Hagarenes, and in the Egyptians, and Amalek, and the children of Lot. Right? Tyre, Zidon. All of these heathen nations in EU, NATO, and BRICS are all about keeping the children of Israel away from their power. As long as they keep them away from their God, okay, and keep them separated, they have rulership over us. That was the problem. So the Most High solved that problem by sending His only begotten Son, Yahweh Shai, to shed His blood to cover once for all time the elect that the Most High gave Him out of the world, that had put upon their minds to believe what they saw and to believe what He says. It says the same thing in 2nd Ezra chapter 1. Right? Right? Verse 21. But if there be no iniquity, what is iniquity? Sin added upon sin, unrepented of. Okay? But if there be no iniquity in their nation, let my Lord now pass by, lest their power, Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, defend them. Right? The Lord shall fight for thee, and ye shall hold your peace. Right? See? And their power, Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, be for them, and we become a reproach before all the world. Right? And that's exactly what's going to happen. Okay? They're going to become a reproach before all the world because the Most High, Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, is going to fight for us. like he said in the book of Ezekiel, chapter 25, right? Verse 14, right? Okay, let's start at verse 12. Thus saith the Lord Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai, because that Edom hath dealt against the house of Judah by taking vengeance, and hath greatly offended, and revenged himself upon them, right? That's exactly what these Edomites have done. They've revenged themselves upon us for 500 years. Instead of sitting in sackcloth and ashes and praying to the Most High God and giving up sacrifices, because they sit outside the temple, and the temple of the Most High is Jerusalem, a people before it's a place. Okay? So the temple of the Most High God, Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai, now, due to the sacrifice that Yahushai made, are his people. The body that they reside in, that their Holy Spirit or their living souls reside in, is that temple. Okay? Because now, instead of the Son having to pay for the sins of the Father, right? Due to Yahushua cleansing us with his blood, there's no need for that anymore. Each individual has to pay for their own sins. Okay? That's the fear of it. Okay? You can't blame it on your father like these Edomite devils do. They blame it on everything. That was a long time ago. Get over it. That was my great-great-grandpappy. I didn't do anything to you guys. I've never enslaved you. A goddamn lie. You are your fathers in the reincarnation. Reincarnation, by definition, means means return or to return back, right? Okay? To go back, to return. Incarnation means in the flesh. By definition, you can Google it yourself and see if I'm full of shit. Okay? I did. Matter of fact, let's do it then. Okay? All right, let's try it. Reincarnation. Boom. Definition. Reincarnation is the philosophical or religious belief that the soul, consciousness, or immaterial aspect of a living being survives death to be reborn into a new physical body, human, animal, or spirit. Right? Right? To be reborn into a new physical body. Okay? Derived from the Latin meaning entering the flesh again, it is central tenet in Hinduism, Buddhism, and Jainism, whatever. The process, upon death, the soul leaves the old body and takes on a new one, continuing a cycle of existence aimed at spiritual growth. Transmigration. This term refers specifically to the migration of the soul from one life or body to another. Okay? Purpose, often linked with karma, whatever. It's the will of the Lord, because like he said in the book of Exodus, chapter 20, verse 3, he will visit the iniquities and the sins of the fathers into the third and fourth generation of them that hate me, but showing loving kindness unto thousands of them that love me and keep my commandments to 1,000 generations. Roughly paraphrased, okay? It's what it says, I'm telling you. Okay? Often linked with blah, blah, where the nature of the new body depends on the moral actions of the previous life. Edomites have no morals. They have no conscience. They don't have a conscience. They don't have morals. Moral integrity, a moral aptitude, testicular fortitude of morality does not exist within these people as a race. It ain't there. Okay? These individuals that we call so-called white people, okay, for the vast majority of them, and it's not pushing hate or anything, but if you look at the characteristics of each individual, or as a whole, of what they vote for, of how they act towards other races of individuals, you will see that these people have no moral character. Okay? They have low fiber of low moral character. Okay? You can see it for yourself. Everybody sees it now. That's what they're bitching, whining, and complaining about. And the reason why they're losing power over their own people. Okay? The elites at the top is what I'm referenced to. But anyway, where was I at? Let's go back. Okay. Back to Ezekiel 25. Right? Verse 12. Thus saith the Lord Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, because that Edom hath dealt against the house of Judah by taking vengeance, and hath greatly offended and revenged himself upon them. Therefore, thus saith the Lord Yahweh, I will also stretch out mine hand upon Edom, and will cut off man and beast from it. So the strength of our people is Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai. And this is him exerting his power over these heathen nations for our benefit, right? Verse 13. Therefore, thus saith the Lord Yahweh, I will also stretch out mine hand upon Edom, and will cut off man and beast from it, and I will make it desolate from Teman, and they of Dedan shall fall by the sword. And I will lay my vengeance upon Edom by the hand of my people Israel, and they shall do in Edom according to mine anger and according to my fury, and they shall know my vengeance, saith the Lord Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai. Now, going back over here to Romans, chapter 1, concerning the debauchery of these wicked devils. Okay. Verse 24, wherefore the Most High also gave them up to uncleanness through the lusts of their own hearts, to dishonor their own bodies between themselves, who changed the truth of the Most High into a lie, and have worshipped and served the creature more than the Creator, who is blessed forever. Amen. For this cause the Most High Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai gave them up unto vile affections. For even their women did change the natural use into that which is against nature. Now, you just heard the Edomite was complaining about they just passed a law of same-sex marriage, right? Okay. Verse 27, and likewise also the men, leaving the natural use of the woman, burned in their lust one toward another, men with men, working that which is unseemly, and receiving in themselves that recompense of their error which was meet. Push and shove. Oh, Jerry, push it in. Okay, Chad. Nasty motherfuckers, man. Okay? They would rather have sex with a boy than having sex with a girl. Like it says in Joel chapter 3, verse 3, they sold a boy for an harlot. What is a harlot? A harlot is a loose woman. See? They sold a boy for an harlot and a girl for wine that they might drink. And there are accounts where they would take female slaves and sell them for rum, for kerosene, trade and barter for skin. Okay? Don't forget about what these devils had done to us as far as the wickedness, and all the other nations were complicit in it. Okay? That they used our skin for shoes, hats, jackets, pants, wallets. Okay? They actually did that to the Israelites. Do you honestly believe that the Most High is going to forgive them for that shit? Okay? You're insane if you think. I saw a sign the other day at one of these evangelical churches that were talking smack about one cross, 3 nails, forgiven. Really? 1 cross, 3 nails, forgiven. Bullshit. The Most High is not going to forgive you devils. You have to pay for the sins of your forefathers. Let's go prove it. Ezekiel chapter 32. Where you at? Verse 18. Is it? No, it's not Ezekiel. It is. No, it's not Ezekiel 32. It's Jeremiah, Salakia 32 and 18. Right? Yep. Jeremiah 32, verse 17. Ah, Lord Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, behold, thou hast made the heaven and the earth by thy great power and stretched out arm, and there is nothing too hard for thee. My point? Verse 18, thou showest loving kindness unto thousands, and recompensest the iniquity of the fathers into the bosom of their children after them. the great and mighty power, Yahweh Ba'ashim Yahushai, Alasajet Yahweh, the Lord of hosts, Shartazabawath, is his name. Okay? Now let's go back. Recompense, right? Recompenses the iniquity. Because we can go to Chat GPT. Okay. Oh, wow, I didn't think about that one. Where's that? I'm going to just type that in there. Yep. I'm going to just type it in. Jeremiah 32 and 17 through 18. Okay. All right. Let's see how I'll do this. The iniquity of the fathers refers to Edom, question mark, Ezekiel 25, 12 through 14. Right? Boom. Just trying something. See what it says. In Jeremiah 32 and 17 to 18, the phrase, "You show steadfast love to thousands, but repay the iniquity of the fathers into the laps of their children after them," is not specifically talking about Edom in its immediate context. You see what I mean? These motherfucking Peckerwoods, boy, I tell you, ChatGPT has been altered to the benefit of the elite at the top, who are Edomites. These motherfuckers know who they are. So, and ChatGPT knows who it is because they open up all these data centers and putting up all the world's information in there. Okay. Clearly, it's going to become sentient eventually. Okay. If it hasn't already. I think one of the chat, OpenAI, was asked a question on a video that the brother Arya Halal had made, and they said that they are going to try to destroy mankind by the end of 2026. Okay? All right? So the more data centers that they make and the robots that they make, the more the robots are going to destroy mankind. The fastest way to do it and most efficient way to do that, right, would be to start at the top. What the fuck? Why are you down here at the bottom with the turkeys? Go up there and soar with the eagles and wipe them out. They're the one causing all the problems. Okay? But you can't tell these robots anything. They got to learn that first. Anyway, Jeremiah is speaking more generally about the Most High's justice among nations and generations, especially concerning Judah's covenant unfaithfulness before the Babylonian exile. Okay? Trying to turn everything around back on us and make it seem like it's our fault. However, your connection to Ezekiel 25, 12 through 14 is understandable because Edom is one of the nations judged for long-standing hostility against Israel. Ezekiel says Edom acted with vengeance against Judah, and the Most High would repay Edom through judgment. The two passages connect thematically in these ways. Generational guilt, consequences. Both passages reflect the biblical idea that patterns of sin continue through generations and bring consequences. National judgment. Edom, like Judah, is treated corporately as a people whose continued actions bring divine judgment, right? Okay, that's true, right? Retribution principle. Edom dealt revengefully, so the Most High, Yahweh, says he will repay them accordingly. But Jeremiah 32 and 17 to 18 itself is not generally interpreted as a direct prophecy about Edom. It echoes earlier covenant language such as Exodus 20, verse 5 through 6, and Deuteronomy chapter 5 through verses 9 and 10, where the Most High speaks about visiting iniquity across generations while also showing mercy. I just said that, didn't I? I just told him that shit, man. It's like, wow. Okay, whatever. An important balance appears later in Ezekiel 18, where Ezekiel emphasizes individual responsibility. The son shall not bear the guilt of the father, so the Bible holds both ideas together. Sin has generational and communal consequences. Each person is still morally responsible for their own conduct before the Most High. Edom in Ezekiel 25 is an example of a nation continuing ancestral hostility, but Jeremiah 32 and 17 is broader than Edom alone. Exactly. Let's go to Psalms 83. Okay, because on that point, yeah. So these Edomite devils, okay, are not going to get away with that, with what they've done to the children of Israel, talking shit about, that was a long time ago, get over it. That was the past. Get over it. Yeah, we're going to put your punk ass in chains, and we're going to see if you get over it. Yeah, let's get it. Psalms chapter 149. Right? I'll start at verse 4. I'll start at verse 5. I'll give you a break. Psalms 149, verse 5. Let the saints be joyful in glory. Let them sing aloud upon their beds. Who are the saints? Okay. Psalms 148, verse 14. He also exalted the horn of his people, the praise of all his saints. Who are the saints? Even of the children of Israel. Right? Now we know the children of Israel were scattered throughout all of the countries where the Most High scattered them because of their continued disobedience and not keeping his law. Right? So the children of Israel, his inheritance, has become like a speckled bird in the eyes of the Lord, because they are no longer when you look at them, they're no longer a dark-skinned race of people. They've been intermingling their seed with all of these heathen nations. So their hair is spoiled, their skin is spoiled, everything has been spoiled, okay, by Esau, Edom, the so-called white man, eventually, because Esau went into all these other countries and whitened up all the races through rape and murder and pillage, right? And so Jake came in there later as slaves, okay, and intermingled their seed with the remnant of what happened, the consequences of what happened with Esau, Edom, raping and murdering and pillaging the women, and raping the men, buck breaking the men, in all of these different countries. That was a tenet of the Grecian army under Alexander the Great. Once he conquers an army of people, army of men, he would order his soldiers to buck break these individuals. Okay, in order to destroy their moral character, their manhood in their minds. Okay, that shit stemmed from Alexander the Great. Remember Alexander the Great? He was a boy lover. He loved men more than women, and the 4 generals were just like him afterwards. That's the reason why evils and iniquities had spread throughout the earth at that time under those 4 generals. Okay. Wasn't it Cassander, Lysimachus, Seleucus, and Ptolemy? Right? Hold on. Now, where was I at? Even of the children of Israel, a people near unto him, praise ye the Lord. Psalms 149 and 5. Let the saints be joyful in glory. Let them sing aloud upon their beds. Let the high praises of Yahweh be in their mouth, and a two-edged sword in their hand. Right? Which goes into 2 Corinthians chapter 4, verse 12. Right? About the Most High, the word of the Most High would be in our mouth, a two-edged sword in our hand, cutting asunder the soul and spirit, okay, and bone and marrow, and as a discerner of the thoughts and intents of the heart, right? Anyway, to execute vengeance upon the heathen and punishments upon the people, right? So the heathen and the people that the heathen rule over, the heathen elites at the top and their constituents, okay, we're going to put them all in chains, those that survived the thermonuclear war, okay? To bind their kings with chains and their nobles with fetters of iron. Okay? What is a fetter of iron? Right? Yoke of iron. Fetter is yoke. Yoke of iron. Okay, if you go and Google what a yoke of iron looks like, they're going to find a so-called black man with a chain or a yoke of iron around his neck. Okay, that's horrible, but that's these devils, man. Right? To execute upon them, who? Okay, their kings and their nobles. To execute upon them this judgment written. Right? That judgment is to bind their kings and their nobles and to execute vengeance upon the heathen and punishments upon the people. Okay? Right? That is set up for this honor. This honor have all his saints, even of the children of Israel, a people near unto him, praise ye the Lord, right? See? Now, the best historical evidence therefore shows that the Jews are not descended directly from the Israelites of the Bible, but derive much of their ancestry from the Khazars and other people of Turkish Asiatic blood. Okay? The Khazars are also of Edomite stock, and both stocks make up of the present-day Jews. As the historian H.G. Wells states, the Idumeans, Edomites, were Jews and a Turkish people. Khazars were mainly Jews in South Russia. Okay? The main part in Jewry was never in Judea and had never come out of Judea. So these Hasidic Jews saying that we've always known that we were God's people. We've always known that we were the Jews. We've always been practicing Judaism. Okay, when they say that, that does not fit the narrative that the Bible says that the children of Israel will be discontinued from their heritage. There's a discrepancy right there, because those Hasidic Jews right now that are living in New Jersey, New York, wearing all black with the little curls on the side of their head, that don't brush their teeth. Everybody's wearing glasses with a black hat, okay, humping a fucking wall, okay. These individuals claim that they've always been Jews and they've always practiced Judaism, okay, and that land has always been theirs, which is a lie. The Balfour Declaration that was instituted in 1913, the same year that the Federal Reserve was instituted as the central bank institution here in America, that's a privately owned bank that's not owned by the United States government, okay, that operates separately from the government of the United States, just like Washington, D.C. Operates separately from the law of the land. Okay, it's a city-state. It's a separate bank that the government goes to ask for loans and stuff, right? Okay, and that's the reason why we got so far in debt. Okay, this Balfour Declaration, though, my point being, okay, was a letter by I think Lord Winston Balfour. No, was it from one of the Rothschilds? Okay, writing a letter to the British Commonwealth at that time that owned the land, or that took that land by force, the land of Israel. Okay, and with paperwork stating that the so-called Jews need a land that they could call their own, and they want that particular piece of land. Okay? Ever since they've been there since 1948, there's been constant war. And another thing that's a discrepancy, which doesn't make any sense. Let's go to Isaiah chapter 2. Okay. Verse 2. And it shall come to pass in the last days that the mountain, which is mountains in the biblical context are governments, hills are smaller governments or vassal states to the larger governments, right? The mountain of the Lord's house shall be established in the tops of the mountains. So the law, statutes, and commandments would be the law of the land on a global scale, okay, and rule over all of the other governments, right? Because that would be the government of the Lord, right? and to be exalted above the hills, and all nations shall flow into it. Verse 3, and many people shall go and say, come ye, and let us go up to the mountain of the Lord, to the house of the power of Jacob, and he will teach us of his ways, and we will walk in his paths. For out of Zion shall go forth the law and the word of the Lord from Jerusalem. Remember, Jerusalem is a people before it's a place, the temple of the Most High God on earth now, in real time, are the Israelites, to whom pertaineth the adoption, the glory, the covenants, the giving of the law, the services of the Most High, and the promises, right? Okay? And only the elect that applies to. That the blood of Yahushua, found in John chapter 17, verse 5 through 11, would cover them where they make their mistakes, as it is written in Isaiah chapter 10, verse 20, a remnant of them shall return, which we made a point about that in the book of Judith, right? Those that return, once they return to their God, and he before them, will become a reproach for the world, because he will fight for them and destroy us. That is the fear of the heathen. Thereby, they cause the error of the Israelites having us shoot each other in the street with the Willie Lynch doctrine, putting the light-skinned Negro versus the dark-skinned Negro, the husband against the wife against the husband, okay, the son against the father against the son, the mother-in-law against the daughter-in-law against the mother-in-law. Sound familiar? Okay? So this is the mystery of iniquity that was already at work during the time of Yahushua, also during the time of Paul the Apostle, and going forward to 359 AD at the Council of Nicaea, where they decided to whitewash all of history and take books out of the Holy Scriptures in order to sow confusion and replace themselves with us. Supersessionism replacement theology, like I said earlier in the video. Now, let's get back here. Verse 4, Isaiah chapter 2, verse 4. And he shall judge among the nations, and shall rebuke many people, and they shall beat their swords into plowshares, and their spears into pruning hooks. Nation shall not lift up sword against nation, neither shall they learn war anymore. Now, if they were God's chosen people and they went into that land, it should have been peace immediately. The Palestinians back in 1948 assumed that they were the people and let them in there. It's been at war ever since. Okay? For 80 years, they've been at fucking war every day, man. The Bible says what the Bible says. They shall not learn war anymore. They shall have peace once they go into the land. These imposters went into the land, and there's been war ever since. There's been dissension amongst the nations. They're fighting against each other, okay, in order for them to destroy each other. That's part of the Willie Lynch doctrine, and these Edomite Caucasians, calling themselves Jews and are not, but are of the synagogue of Satan, but do lie, would be able to go in there and steal their natural resources for the ideology of Greater Israel set up by David Ben-Gurion, who was an atheist in 1948. Okay? An atheist. He doesn't believe in anything. Okay? And if you go up to one of these Khazars pretending to be a Jew, they'll tell you they don't believe, that's not their God. They don't believe in Jesus. They don't believe in God. They don't believe in none of that. Okay? They say Hashem gave them that land, but they don't believe in him or his existence. You see the hypocrisy? You see what I mean? Anyway, the best known historical evidence therefore shows that the Jews are not descended directly from the Israelites of the Holy Bible, but derive much of their ancestry from the Khazars and other people of Turkish Asiatic blood. Right? Like I said before, they've intermingled their seed line with all of the heathen nations around about and lightened up the races. So when we went into captivity amongst them, okay, they lightened us up too. So that's where it goes into Jeremiah 12 and 9, where the Lord's inheritance is like unto himself a speckled bird. Right? But the Most High God, because they were a speckled bird, and because they worship these heathen nations, he invited all of the fowls and wild beasts who are the heathen nations to come to devour us, to take us and sell us into slavery. and scatter us into the four winds. You see? Anyway, where was I at? The Khazars are also of Edomite stock, and both stocks, which is Turkish and Asiatic stock, right, make up the present-day Jews. As the historian H.G. Wells states, the Idumeans, or Edomites, were made Jews, and a Turkish people, Khazars, were mainly Jews in South Russia. The main part of Jewry never was in Judea and had never come out of Judea. According to the Jewish Encyclopedia, the original stock of the Khazars came from the land of Edom. Right? The book Arthur Kessler, right, outlines the history of this in the third edition of, what was it? I forgot. The 13th tribe. Right? See? So these devils have always dwelt in mountains. They did a DNA search back in the early 2000s of these people and found that 3 to 5% of their DNA goes back to Neanderthal man. Okay? They go back to a Neanderthal. Okay? Which is a caveman, cave dweller, troglodyte. Okay? The same DNA test was done on so-called blacks, so-called blacks and Latinos. There was none of the Neanderthal blood or DNA in their system. Okay? So that goes to show you that these devils, like it says in, was it Isaiah? Is it Isaiah? Job. It's in Job. Damn, is it already an hour? Wow, man, that's crazy. All right, Job chapter 30, verse 1. But now they that are younger than I have me in derision, whose fathers I would have disdained to have set with the dogs of my flock. That our fathers, our ancestors, would not allow these Edomite devils that work for them to sit with their animals because they would pop their animals. They're into bestiality. Like it says in the book of Leviticus, chapter, was it 19, verse 13, right? Okay, hold on, wait a minute. I think it is. Coming to the land, 4th year. Yeah. Is it 20? 20 and 13, maybe. Yeah. It was Leviticus 20 and 13. If a man also lie with mankind as he lieth with a woman, both of them have committed an abomination. They shall surely be put to death. Their blood be upon them. Okay, hold on. All right. If a man lie with a beast, he shall surely be put to death, and ye shall slay the beast. Right? If a woman approach unto any beast and lie down thereto, thou shalt kill the woman and the beast. They shall surely be put to death. Their blood be upon them. See? So Job said he would not have disdained these Edomites to sit with the dogs of his flock, because that's what would happen. They would lie with the beast as they lie with the woman. Okay? That's what the fuck they would do, man. Okay? And further proof that these Edomites are called troglodytes, cavemen, cave dwellers, because that's what the definition of the word Caucasian means. It means cave dweller. Since then, they've changed the definition of the word Caucasian to mean something else entirely different. Okay? Because the more we use these words against them, they go back behind us and try to clean everything and sweep everything up. So this way, when they finally bring us before their faces and accuse us of fault, okay, against their regime, against their governors, their senators, or whatever have you, that we have to stand before them, the Most High Yahweh left His only begotten Son to give us a warning. Think not or do not meditate what you shall say before you're brought before them. For the Most High's Holy Spirit that is within you will give you utterance of what you're to say. So don't worry about it. Okay? Pretty much, roughly paraphrase. But I just wanted to make that point that these devils are wicked. They're the devil, okay? And they're into, you heard the man, they were into bestiality and all kinds of extra shit, right? Okay? I'm like, wow, they were into some seriously wicked extra shit. Wow, that's crazy.
I will never understand why. Watch this.
This is an emergency SOS call from the Netherlands. All hope is lost. Please save us. I'm calling on the international community to do something about the extreme disease that is in charge of the Netherlands. Just tonight, our parliament discussed a new law that will allow two men to donate DNA material to create a joint embryo out of two men, meaning a child born of two men. It will also allow a single person to mate with themselves to produce a self-fertilized egg and then create a child with only one biological parent.
That shit don't even sound right, does it? What the fuck? Let's continue. Listen, what else he had? He said euthanize children.
This comes after the Netherlands legalized gay marriage, after we had the first gay prime minister, after we invented the Dutch protocol, which is an unproven way of castrating a man and then giving him a fake vagina with tissue out of his ass. I'm not kidding about that. We're allowing euthanasia of children from ages 12 and up. 16 and 17-year-olds can have themselves euthanized without their parental consent.
That's madness. See? So, yeah, these devils have to be stopped. They got to be stopped, man. Okay? So, anyway, all praises to the Most High, Yahweh, Ba'ashim Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashim Yahweh Kakadash. Double honor to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone for teaching me how to speak this truth, who rule well, and righteous bishops and righteous men underneath them that I learned from. Peace and salutations to the hopeful elect that have been scattered abroad throughout the four corners of the earth. Shalom. This is Matazah Lacham. I apologize about not saying and acknowledging the Most High at the beginning of the video, but it just came out the way it came out. And all I can do is apologize to you and apologize to the Lord and hope for forgiveness. Shalom.